Hail and well met, friends! Andang here for a map overview and kind of like progress evaluation of where we are in our journey towards the end of the main Lord of the Rings story. And we had done Western Gondor. We came through the Paths of the Dead over from Rohan. We made our way into Central Gondor, which is the new area that is coming with Update 15. And it covers a pretty large area just staying along the coast to try to quickly, get around the mountains. And moving from there, if you look on this map, here's where the river is, and there's where it cuts off there as well. So we are very close to Minas Tirith. But we're not going to Minas Tirith next, according to Turbine. We're going to Osgiliath. So it's going to be interesting how we get over there. And so joining me, I have Thalros and Sithrith to talk about this. So what do you guys think? How are we going to get to Osgiliath?
I mean, you remember before we went to Gondor, we had that theory about the boats.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't want to go with that again because we were wrong twice. But I mean, I'm really confused about how we're going to get from here to Osgiliath without going to Minas Tirith because it's closer.
Yeah, it's on the way.
Yeah. So what reason would we have for not going there? I'm really confused at how they're going to cover that. I mean, we know there's that ring around the Pelennor Fields. Perhaps that's blocking it. Maybe it's already overrun. I don't remember where it is at this point in the story. But
well, maybe they have. Maybe it's kind of similar to Western Gondor or Western Rohan, where we were. We went to the guard guy, and he told us to go away, and we had to go up to Wildermore and do a whole side thing.
So the soldiers are blocking this out. That would make sense.
I'm wondering. I mean, there's no story to set that. I mean, obviously we haven't gone through Central Gondor, so we technically don't know. But I don't think that there would be a story limiting us. And the only thing I could think of is if there's like there has to be something blocking us, because it would really not make sense to.
I wouldn't be surprised if the steward does something, because they seem to be coming up with some sort of suspicious business going on with him.
Yeah, so maybe he's heard of us and has limited us from going in.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm wondering if they're going to have this Osgiliath zone being this entire strip of land going from where we are now all the way up to Osgiliath, and then the rest will fill in with Minas Tirith itself.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense if you go along this between the two rivers, this area.
That would be 3 coastal zones in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would make sense to go through there. That would make logical sense if they were connecting the landscape. That's kind of the big if there. It makes no sense, because if you look, Minas Tirith is directly on the way to Osgiliath.
Yeah. Thing is, on the Central Gondor map, we have a little tag that says to East Gondor. So I assume it is going to be all connected.
That's a good point. So Osgiliath and the updates next year. Keep in mind, they said that we're going to Minas Tirith, we're going to Osgiliath, and they also said there's other stuff, too. They said those are only 2 of the places we're going.
Yeah.
So that is possible. We could be going to Eastern Gondor, and then move up to Osgiliath, and then back over to Minas Tirith. So basically surrounding Minas Tirith and prolonging the inevitable.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do Osgiliath, then after that, we go to Ithilien, as a detour, Dead Marshes style area to maybe catch up with Frodo and Sam again, to get up with their part of the story, and then we go to Minas Tirith and we have the Siege of Gondor, and then I think it's the year after that they do Pelennor Fields. That would kind of make sense chronologically for me.
That would be great if they could pull that off.
I feel like that's a bit too much.
I feel like that's a bit too much to ask, but that would be fantastic if that were the case. I would pay extra for that zone.
I have a feeling we're not going to get to Ithilien until either midway through Minas Tirith or the whole Minas Tirith thing is finished.
Yeah.
So perhaps following Aragorn's company to the Black Gate.
Mm-hmm.
and we'll
Mhm.
probably cover Minas Morgul on the way, because that is on the map.
Yeah, I would be surprised if, I mean, when we're going to Osgiliath, we're going to be very close to Mordor.
Mhm.
That could be tempting. I'm wondering if we might make like a first step into Mordor then.
Personally, I think we will go into Mordor, but I don't see how we're going to be able to get in there until after the ring's destroyed.
Well, I mean, it could even be
Mhm.
just like a session play, like we did with Edoras.
Yeah.
Session play, yeah, I suppose. But I mean, even with the session plays we've done, it's usually stuff that's happened in the place we're standing. That's what it was in East Rohan with the breaking of the flagship, and in the Dead Marshes, we'd have to be in Mordor to see what the hobbits have done in Mordor.
No.
Well, it could be like spying on Frodo and Sam, like we are somehow in the tower where Sam fights through, or something like that.
Mm.
I don't know time-wise when that happens exactly,
I
but
mean, this could be a long shot, but possibly I mean, after we destroy the army at Pelennor Fields, we go to Minas Morgul, and I presume we break that place down. I
Mhm.
think there's meant to be a Palantir in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember in the books if they take it out or if it's still there. I believe they don't even enter the keep, though. So that maybe could provide some sort of narrative opening for Divine to work with.
Mhm. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's quite
That
possible.
we have another, freak out dream sequence.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah, and so then after Minas Tirith and all that stuff, it's 2016. Will we head into Mordor proper?
Well,
I
they
think-
said they have plans. So.
I mean, I think was it 2015 is Osgiliath, Minas Tirith, then 2016 is Pelennor Fields.
Mhm.
Sometime during
And
that year.
presumably something else.
After that, yeah. Possibly we could do Mortal then, but I think if we were going to, it would be the year after that.
Mm-hmm. Well, assuming that we need some type of filler somewhere, where do we go? Is it to Athelion?
I'm thinking either Athelion or Minas Morgul,
Mm-hmm.
or
Okay.
both. But
I'd
most
say
likely
either Athelion or maybe even a little bit south.
Harondor, you mean? Because
Yeah.
that is already labeled on the map there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm thinking though, because like if you read in the last parts of the Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of Aragorn just going down there and kicking butt, basically.
Oh, yeah, he goes with Eomer and everything. I think, if I remember
I'm
right.
thinking that that they'll save that for then. I would be surprised if they go ahead and go down there, but they may. It's possible they could do like an establishing thing where it's like, here's the first part of this, like,
Go scout
Yeah.
kind of thing.
yeah, that type of thing, and introducing
It
the
is
people.
not quite Harad, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just
So
not sure that has enough of a big lore appeal to people for it to be a good filler zone.
from
Mm.
what I've seen on the comments, it seems like a lot of people at least somewhat know about it. I mean, it's a better filler zone than Wildermore, where they just made
Yeah.
it up.
They just
So-
made up the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. So after all that, do we go into Mordor? I'm not sure if we will.
I think we will eventually.
And if so, how far do we go in? Like,
Going back to that producer's comment he made ages ago about going into Mordor, he said, I can't remember exactly, I'm paraphrasing here, but I think he said he didn't want us to just be cleanup crew
Mm-hmm.
when we go there. Pretty sure he said we were going to be going there at some point, but he didn't want us to be cleanup crew, which is pretty much what we've been for a lot of this stuff.
mm-hmm. So that means we're probably going to be going to a totally different part of Mordor, where
Mhm.
where those slavers are and stuff like that.
Around the Sea of Nirn,
Uh-huh.
I would think that could be a possibility because there are slaves down there and they do get freed.
Mm-hmm. And so
Mhm.
somebody has to
Maybe have
free
an
them.
impact in that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a much more heroic kind of thing than
And
just.
he isn't paying attention down there so much.
Yep.
Yeah. And nobody really, I mean, in the books, they don't really know how that happened. They just know that they kind of got freed and there were people that did it. So,
So the other question is, how do we get into Mordor?
People say that there's going to be like a Shelob raid. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I think we might have some sort of either encounter with her, or at least we go there and we see signs of what happened. Maybe a
Oh
second.
yeah, there's no
I
way
think
they're
signs
not
of
gonna
what
have her.
happened would be more likely, but I don't think that we'll be the ones to defeat Shelob. I'd be very surprised.
I don't
it
know.
seems convenient that
Yeah.
Tolkien doesn't say what her end is.
That is true.
And Turbine, we know Turbine loves to play with
I
those.
love doing that stuff.
But have they ever have we ever been involved in killing off a character that was the end was never sure?
No.
I don't think we've come across anybody whose like ends are all loose like that. That
Right,
would
yeah.
be someone we would want to kill, like giant spider.
Someone on the right side, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think if we were ever going to do something like that, Shelob seems like the best clean example because it's pretty much a free reign for Turbine to work with.
Right. Like that's pretty much perfect to do a raid. Like I mean, they've made up Balrogs and dragons for us to kill off, but
This basically
This
handed
is-
to him on a platter.
yeah.
Mhm. And so we go through Mordor, do all that stuff. Do we go up to Ruin? Go down to Harad?
I'm thinking Harad would be more likely than Rune because Harad is very far away.
Mm-hmm.
Rune is quite a lot closer to the landscape we already have. So I'm thinking if they're going to do it, that place would be more likely.
And Rune would be a very different kind of landscape, so it'd give them the ability to really flex their world designing muscles, which they like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it does look like it will be an interesting next few years as we get into the main parts of the Lord of the Rings, the final chapters. It's still a few years away before we go into Mordor, possibly 2015, maybe not till, possibly 2016, maybe not till 2017 even, or maybe not even at all. But it is going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. And so thank you very much, Sithrith and Atheros, for joining me on this. And until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button below. And if you'd like to see more of my daily content, feel free to subscribe, and you'll be notified when that new content comes out. And also, if you'd like to help support my channel and help me continue to create high-quality videos, feel free to support me on Patreon, and you can get all sorts of great rewards in the process. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for another video.